Not quite so hard on the fiber.
That'll spoil it.
Okay, let me do this then. One more time. Anybody else want to do it?
Where do you live? So you guys got around pretty good then, huh?
Okay. We'll see if that's enough.
That's a nice job.
Thanks, guys. That's a lot of help. That if you do it a lot longer than you want to, it makes a difference. What it is supposed to do, this process, is supposed to remove what's left of that outer husk. It's supposed to be cracked over there, removed over here, and then this part is simply supposed to divide the fibers that are sort of glued together.
What's this called again?
That's breaking.
Breaking.
That's a flax break, and this is the scutching board. I can't ever get all of the husk off at this process. That's what's supposed to happen here. I can never get it off. But I have figured out that if you do this as thoroughly as you can, and switch it around a fair amount, it does make a difference. Losing my pen. I thought my kerchief was in the way more than usual. No hotter than what you've got on, probably. Huh? Hot day's a hot day. I'm afraid I'd be hot if I was wearing a bathing suit today. Probably the work that makes me hot more than the clothes. This process was mechanized pretty early on in history. The part that they couldn't mechanize, and the reason linen stayed fairly expensive if you had to buy it, was because they couldn't figure out how to spin it by machine for a long time. That was because to spin this stuff, you had to use water. To spin a good thread, you needed water in with it. Well, they figured out a way to do that by machine like in the 1750s, and this, all by machine, early on, before the end of the 18th century. The spinning of flax was another 30 or 40 years. They didn't figure that out until the 1830s. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. I put my foot on the thing in the back, and then I brace my knee against it so that I'm not just bouncing. You know, it's like when you try to hammer a nail into a piece of board with nothing behind it. You know how that doesn't work? The board just bounces around and the nail doesn't go anywhere. You have to have something behind it. So my knee is acting as a sort of a brace. Now I can't ever, like I said, I never get all those husks off, but that's what's supposed to happen here.
That's why I use Sharpie.
Nope, not at all. We could. On guard. Play Robin Hood. Huh? And then the final process is hackling. And these hackles are in wicked shape here. What I'll do is just comb this partly and then pull the mess out of the hackles and probably divide this handful into two. I take as big a handful as I can for the first two steps, and then once I get it partly combed, I'll split it into two so that I can comb it better. I'll comb one end, and then I'll comb the other end. That's the fine one. I'll use that second.
Do we know whether men did this too?
Actually, I've seen pictures of, I think I've seen everything but the breaking done by either men or women, according to the pictures.
And the breaking was only done by women? According to the pictures? By men. Okay.
That's what I've seen in the pictures, which doesn't mean necessarily that that's not the case. But the scutching and the hackling, I've seen both pictures of men and women doing that. And right now I just can't remember about the breaking.
All your life, when you die in Salem, you're buried in the choir that you died in. So all the single men are buried together. All the single women all the married women, all the married men. So if you die, you're not necessarily buried by your wife. You're buried in the order that you die, in the choir that you're in when you die. So if my husband dies first, I'm buried in the widow's choir. But if I die before my husband, I'm buried in the married women's choir, and he's buried in the widower's choir. You understand what I'm saying? It gets kind of confusing.
What if y'all got to?
If y'all die at the same time, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if that ever happened, but I guess you would both be married, so you'd have the wife would go in the married women's, and the husband would go in the married men. You, the people, were going to God, and that was ultimately the best thing, you know. And a lot of time they were in so much pain from getting work on at the doctors, they were glad to die, I'm sure. Yeah, they did.
I know, say you at school. Who's gonna knock you out? Those nights will knock you out. Who's gonna knock you out?